Welcome back to this breaking news edition. I'm Benita Levine. An emergency session of the UN General Assembly is underway on the Ukraine crisis, 5 days into the invasion by Russia. The measure convening the General Assembly session was adopted by a vote of 11 in favor, with Russia voting against and China, India and the United Arab Emirates abstaining. These are live images on your screen right now out of the UN. Now, today's request comes after Russia vetoed a US-led draft Security Council resolution on Friday that would have, quote, deplored in the strongest terms the Russian Federation's aggression against Ukraine. The Security Council's latest steps to end the Ukraine crisis cap a week of activity at the UN, seeking a diplomatic off-ramp to Russian military action in the country. Here's the latest message from UN Chief Antonio Guterres.
Enough is enough. Soldiers need to move back to their barracks, and leaders need to move to peace. Civilians must be protected. International humanitarian and human rights law must be upheld. The sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity of Ukraine within its internationally recognized borders must be respected, in line with General Assembly resolutions. Mr. President, we are facing a tragedy for Ukraine, but also a major regional crisis with potentially disastrous implications for us all.
Meanwhile, the Ukrainian UN envoy is speaking out amidst reports that some Russian soldiers on the ground include teenagers who are currently facing a determined resistance force. Sergei Kislitsia reading out this final conversation between a Russian soldier and his mother before the young soldier died in battle.
Because I would like to read from the screenshot of the smartphone of a killed Russian soldier. That's an actual screenshot from someone who is dead already.
Alyosha,
ты как? Почему
how are
так
you
долго
doing?
не отвечаешь?
Why has it been so long since you responded?
Вы точно на учениях?
Are you really in training exercises?
Спрашивает мать убитого солдата.
Asks the mother of the killed soldier.
Моменты перед тем, как он был убит.
Moments before he was killed.
Мама, я уже не в Крыму.
Mama, I'm no longer in Crimea.
Не на учениях.
I'm not in training sessions.
А где?
Where are you then?
Папа спрашивает, можно ли
Papa is
тебе
asking
послать
whether I can send
посылку.
you a parcel.
Да какую посылку,
What
мам?
kind of a parcel, Mama, can you send me?
Что ты говоришь такое?
What are you
Что
talking
случилось?
about? What happened?
Мама, я на
Mama,
Украине.
I'm in Ukraine.
Тут настоящая
There
война.
is a real war raging
Мне
here.
страшно.
I'm afraid.
Мы бьем по всем городам.
We are bombing
Подряд.
all of the
Даже по
cities
мирным
together, even targeting civilians.
Нам сказали, что они
We
нас
were
будут
told
приветствовать.
that they would welcome us.
А они кидаются под нашу
And
технику.
they are falling under
И не
our
дают
armored
проехать.
vehicles, throwing themselves under the wheels and not allowing us to
Называют
pass.
нас
They
фашистами.
call us fascists.
Мама, мне очень тяжело.
Mama, this is so
In
hard.
several moments he was killed.
And this was several moments before he was killed.
A chilling account there out of the United Nations. For the latest, let's cross live now to our senior US correspondent, Mike Wagenheim. He joins us there live from New York. So, Mike, only 10 emergency special sessions of the General Assembly have been convened since 1950. We just heard Antonio Guterres earlier saying enough is enough. What is the latest there?
Right behind me here at the General Assembly, this emergency session is underway. As you mentioned, I haven't had one of these in decades. Most of the previous 10 have involved Israel in some form or fashion, not surprising. Israeli Ambassador Gilad Erdan did approach the Ukrainian Ambassador, Sergei Kislitsia, before the session got underway today to offer basically his words of encouragement, his assistance. The Israeli mission told us that Erdan will not be speaking at the emergency session today due to the sensitivity of Israel's position here vis-a-vis Russia. But Kislytsia not holding back at all as he did his opening statement. He said that Putin wants to use his nuclear arsenal to kill himself. He should just, kill himself like the guy in the bunker in Berlin did in 1945, alluding to Hitler's suicide as Allied forces were closing in. Kislytsia accused Russia of war crimes, including not allowing emergency humanitarian and medical assistance. He also said that radiation levels have gone up at Ukrainian nuclear facilities since Russia took control, or at least have closed in on those facilities. Russia's ambassador to the United Nations, Vasily Nebenzia, firing back, saying that essentially the West is engaged right now in deception and manipulation, especially on social media. He went on to say that Russia is simply defending itself in the Donbass region. He did confirm that Russia's forces are 120,000 strong right now. Later on today, obviously other nations will chime in with their own thoughts. This resolution to condemn Russia and also Belarus is expected to pass with a strong majority. Israel has already confirmed out of its Ministry of Foreign Affairs that they will support this resolution, unlike the Security Council resolution from last week. Basically, the word last week was, even though the U.S. was applying pressure to Israel to support that Security Council resolution, Israel said it's not going to pass anyway because of the obvious Russian veto. Therefore, they didn't see the expending the political capital in supporting that to be necessary. However, Israel has confirmed they will support this General Assembly resolution, which will be voted on sometime expectedly in the next couple days.
And as you say, a sensitive issue indeed. Talk us through the diplomatic and political implications here for Israel, who of course has relations with both Kiev and Moscow.
There's no doubt Israel's been caught here in quite a diplomatic pickle over these last few weeks here. Russia essentially controls the northern border with Israel. It's labeled Syrian territory, but Russia controls essentially the airspace over Syria, which has been critical to Israeli Defense Forces operations, Israeli Air Force operations in Syria, trying to neutralize and trying to stop Iranian forces from doing business in that particular region. If Russia pulls the plug on cooperation, well, that obviously is a game changer for Israel. So Israel has been very, very hesitant to condemn Russia, especially by name, although they've supported Ukrainian sovereignty, territorial integrity. They've offered humanitarian assistance. They've basically said, hey, we're with you, Ukraine, without bad-mouthing Russia in the process, in layman's terms. That seems to be changing now. Yair Lapid, the Israeli foreign minister, came out yesterday with a much stronger statement, basically saying, hey, not only are we with Ukraine here, but we're willing to condemn Russia's actions. We intend to do so at this emergency session of the General Assembly. Russia has not responded to that change in policy as of yet. There's no doubt, though, there will be a response coming, even if it doesn't come in the form of a statement. It will come in the form of action, assuredly, when it comes to Israel's dealings with Syria. It's just a matter of to what extent Russia, though, so far has been fairly grateful, so to say, for Israel's relative neutrality in this matter. But this is going to change here with Yair Lapid's statement and Israel's support of this General Assembly resolution.
Live from New York, thank you so much, Senior U.S. Correspondent Mike Wagenheim at the UN General Assembly. Thanks, Mike. Well, banking